Amour, which is the new film by Michael Haneke, Palme d'Or winner, of course, you've been there before. Haneke is famous for sort of skewering the most harrowing aspects of the human condition. If you look things like, the desensitized murder of Benny's video, and creeping suspicion and paranoia of Hidden, and even the sort of the pre-war build-up of something like The White Ribbon. Some people have said that Amour is him showing his softer side, which I think does the film a disservice. The film, basically, it opens with police breaking into an apartment where we find a body laid out in apparent state. The story then concentrates on two characters, Anne and George, who are a very cultured married couple living life to the full. They have a love of literature, a love of music. They're in their apartment. They have a piano. They have books, all everything. We start off with the camera looking at an audience who are attending a classical concert. One morning, at breakfast, they're having a conversation in their very sort of cultured way, and she suddenly seems to drift into non-communicativeness, and he sort of, he's trying to say, what's the matter, why aren't you talking to me? He goes off, gets a wet towel, puts it on the back of her neck, and then she comes around and she has no memory of this having happened. And he at first isn't sure whether she's sort of pulling some terrible joke on him. She thinks for a moment that maybe there's something strange about him. What then happens is that it becomes apparent that she's having a series of strokes and attacks, and she's becoming debilitated. She's taken to hospital, having returned from hospital with paralysis on one side. She makes him promise that whatever happens, she will not go back to hospital. And what then plays out is a very, very harrowing, but very well put together and very moving and very human and very touching, but I don't mean any of those things in a sentimental way, portrayal of him caring for her as in the sort of terminal stages of her life, and as various parts of her faculties start to fall away, both physical and mental. People come by, Isabelle Huppert comes by, who's playing her daughter, who immediately does the thing, but is shocked about the state of the mother and immediately demands, you must be put in hospital, something must be done. He, on the other hand, his whole thing is, no, this is what must be done. She wants to rage and to grieve and be angry. There must be a solution. But his whole position is, no, this is where we are. This is what is happening. And her friends around him say, you can't deal with this. You can't. It's too much for you to do, and also you can't deal with it properly. And his position is, this is what has to be done. This is what I'm committed to. And saying the only solution is what, you're going to put her in a home? No. This is our relationship, and what then plays out, and it is a very difficult watch in the way that it should be difficult, is it is somebody caring for somebody whilst the awful end game plays out, and it's one of those things. One of the things that Haneke has always been famous for is for not looking away. He always looks slightly longer, holds a shot slightly longer, except that one crucial moment in Funny Game in which the camera very deliberately looks away in order to prevent the audience from having what Haneke would think of as a moment of visceral release. But he has this thing of just holding everything slightly too long. And what happens is, at some point, they do actually bring in care from the outside, but very quickly the husband says, no, this is not what I want. I'm the only person who can do this, because the care seems to infantilize his wife, and he doesn't want that to happen. In a way, the film, it's called Love, and when people knew that Haneke was making a film called Amour, their immediate sort of thing was, presumably the title is meant ironically, because Haneke has this sort of reputation for doing this fairly bleak view of the world. There's nothing ironic about it at all. It is, in a very genuine way, a completely sincere and honest and extraordinarily moving portrayal of love and what love means and what it means to commit yourself to somebody till death us do part, in sickness and in health. And perhaps the most extraordinary thing about it is exactly that. The fact that the movie does not have a side to it, that the central characters having decided, this is what I am going to do, this is who I am, this relationship, this is part of it, this is both the price and the reward of love, is this. And the film then lets that play out. In many ways, it's the absolute antithesis of Funny Games. Funny Games, I always thought was, had this sort of horrible lecturing tone. It was an essay on the disconnect about entertainment, and it actually had bits in it in which characters would turn towards the character, and turn towards the camera and going, "You as the audience, why aren't you reacting to this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you walking out of this film? Why are you enjoying all this violence?" In this case, we have completely the opposite. We have a portrayal of absolute human empathy in which the characters never feel the need to ask for our sympathy. In fact, at key moments during the drama, characters come in who seem to want to have to display empathy and want to have to display, and the whole point about it is no, that's not the correct response to this. So it is both an extraordinary portrayal of what love genuinely is and what dedication genuinely is. It is a film in which there is never any special pleading, never, nothing. I mean, Haneke is so far away from sentimentality anyway. You'd never get any sense that he would, bring in a sort of orchestral score or a surge in order to engage your emotions. It is, a very, some people would think it a cold, clinical portrayal of love. I think it's completely the opposite. Extraordinary performances and a depiction of a sort of fearsome stoicism in the face of inevitable tragedy that, for me, I actually came out of it thinking that it was an uplifting portrait of love and of devotion. I'm sure others won't feel the same, but it does seem that across the board, I haven't heard a single, critical dissenting voice, other than that some people say it's a tough watch. It is a tough watch, but at the heart of it, it is a completely frank depiction of love. And good for it.